Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the channel, Mindful Samadhi. I'm Dharma Samadhi. And I thought what we're going to do this week, I'm going to do a question and answer session. So the last 4 or 5 weeks, I've been getting quite a few emails and messages on my social media platforms from the YouTube channel, from people just asking random questions about Buddhism, meditation, and various different things on the topic. So I thought what I'll do is we'll do like a question and answer session, obviously now, and then I think moving forward what we'll do is we'll try and do this once a week as well. I think this will be beneficial. You know, I sifted through some of these questions that people had, and I thought instead of responding to them one by one with individual responses, I think it's better if we do it and broadcast it over the channel. Considering there's quite a lot of subscribers now, I think some of you might benefit from some of these answers that I have. So yeah, let's give it a go. So what I've done is I printed out some questions from the viewers. These are just via the email. I have got quite a lot of other questions, so apologies if you don't get your question read out tonight. But like I said, what I'm going to do, I'm going to start doing this each week so I can endure to answer as many people as possible. And also towards the end of the video, what I'll do is I'll give people, I'll point people in the right direction if they have any questions they'd like to ask, and then we can eventually get them answered, hopefully. So let's have a look at these questions we've got. The first one is, hello Bhante Samadhi. I have a question for you. I'm curious as to why monks shave their heads. Can you please reply back when you get a chance and let me know? Okay. So it's a pretty valid question, I suppose. The reason why monks, there's a couple of reasons why monks shave their heads. Predominantly, we shave our heads because we're renouncing worldly desires and attachments and things like this when we become a monk. So once we decide to take robes, in most cases, monks will shave their heads because in Buddhism, we're trying to understand attachment, and you'll find when you live in the lay life, we enjoy having a nice hairstyle and looking good. You know, we're quite conscious on what other people are thinking about how we look and how they perceive us, and also how we look ourselves. So, you know, it's quite normal routine for a lot of people in the lay life to wake up and, you know, put some hair gel in their hair and do their hair nice and go to the hairdressers and things like this. And as you're probably aware, monks, we all decide to shave our heads. And this process usually starts in our ordination period when we get ordained as monks. Our head monk or our preceptor will shave our heads. And this is generally a sign of renunciation, which means just getting rid of worldly possessions, worldly desires, worldly attachments and things. So we shave our heads. It also is a sign of impermanence as well, understanding that everything is temporary, and hair growing is, you know, we call it Kayanapasana. It's a form of meditational practice, and it's contemplation on 32 parts of the body. And one of those parts of the 32 parts is the hair growing and hair itself. So we like to look at this as not a thing of beauty. We like to look at the real nature of hair growing. It's actually not really a nice thing from our perspective. You know, it's got an odor to it, and it's quite disgusting, to be honest. This is a Buddhist perspective, you know. I'm not saying go and shave your heads or anything. But in the Buddhist sense, we don't really look at hair as a thing of value and a thing to hold on to and attach to, because it can create a lot of problems having a head of hair. Although some of you might look at it as a very luxurious thing, and it makes you look nice and makes your appearance look good and everything, we kind of look at it quite the opposite, to be honest. Yeah, it's kind of like a humility thing as well, you know, like in Buddhism we don't have any desire to grow hair. We don't want hair. We want to look quite neutral and quite plain in that sense. So yeah, this attachment that people have, when you become a monk, we try and get rid of attachments, because attachments lead to suffering ultimately in Buddhism. That's what the Buddha has taught us. And so therefore we don't have any desire to have hair, and we shave it off. Yeah, hopefully that answers your question. Ultimately, to shorten that extended question down, is basically it's a form of attachment, and attachment can eventually lead to suffering, because that once beautiful head of hair you have one day will turn grey and white, and it will eventually probably fall out in most cases. So we're not too bothered with growing hair, and we just choose to shave it. It's also a lot cooler for us as well if we live in warmer areas, and there's many other reasons, but primarily it's a form of attachment, and we're trying to get rid of all attachments to release ourselves from the bond of suffering. So yeah, thank you for your question. You didn't leave a name, and your email address was quite it didn't have a name to it, so anyway, thank you. The second question I have here, Bhante Samadhi, I was wondering if you can help me with my sitting meditation. After a few minutes of sitting, I start to feel restless and want to move. Is there any advice you can give me so I'm able to sit for longer? I have been meditating now for about 2 months, and I still can't seem to get comfortable. Any help would be appreciated, Nick. All right, thank you for your question, Nick. Yeah, so you've been meditating for 2 months. All right, so it's relatively a short period of time to be meditating. Good on you for doing it for a couple of months though, and stick with it. Listen, it's quite a tricky thing actually to start when you start meditating. Sitting in one position without moving for a prolonged period of time can be quite difficult when you're beginning. There's quite a few factors involved from Buddhist perspectives. So what I'd first suggest is just keep practicing. Repetition pays off in the long run. When you go to start initially sitting, just try and find as comfortable position as possible. But generally, to answer it in a more specified manner, I'd probably say it's got a bit to do with a couple of things. So firstly would be sila. Sila is like moral discipline, like following precepts. So as a layperson, you have 5 precepts. You have panatipata, veramani, sikappadam, samadhiyami. This one means refrain from killing living things or harming living things. So don't try and hurt or harm or kill any animals. Obviously, humans are involved, and anything with the form of consciousness you don't want to hurt or cause any harm to. So that's the first precept. The second precept, you want to make sure that you don't take which is not given. Okay, so this can involve stealing. You don't want to steal anything. You don't want to take something that's not yours unless someone offers it to you. That's usually the best form of conduct in that sense. The third one is abstaining from sexual misconduct. So that's in Buddhist terms we call this a brahmacharya, which means like complete celibacy. But basically what this means as a layperson, the third precept is don't commit adultery. So don't cheat on your wife or your partner if you have a partner, and just try and be faithful, okay, with whoever you're with. The fourth precept is to musavada, we call it, veramini sikkhapadam samadhiyami. This one basically means refrain from telling lies. Try and have wholesome speech and good speech. Try and refrain from using dirty words like slanderous words and swearing and things like this. And just try and live an honest life. Don't tell lies. Even white lies can be bad. This is quite a difficult precept to follow on a day-to-day basis, especially in the workplace and things like this. We all tend to have white lies here and there. But it's a good precept to try and adhere to. And then the fifth one is Suramerya Majjapama Dattana Veramini Sikkhapadam Samadhiyami. And the fifth precept is to refrain from taking drinks and drugs which lead to carelessness. So what that means is try and avoid drinking alcohol, and also try and avoid taking any drugs unless it's for medicinal purposes, like you need the medicine. That's a different story. But the reason Buddha says this is basically we don't want to affect our mindfulness. And this is essentially part of this practice of meditation. If you're drinking and taking drugs and things like this, and you're telling lies and you're perhaps stealing, or you're cheating on your wife or your girlfriend, or you're killing insects and harming things. So those 5 things are the 5 precepts, and they can actually become a big problem or a big hindrance in your meditation practice, which can lead to restlessness and sloth and torpor and these things the Buddha teaches and explains to us. So living a pure life as a Buddhist layperson, you've got to follow those 5 precepts, the first 5 precepts. You can Google it, you can chuck it on your AI, and it will explain it if you've forgotten what I just mentioned. So this can be a cause of you having restlessness in your practice. We call these hindrances. So trying to understand those 5 precepts, this will help you gain some more comfort, and it will avoid restlessness, and it will deter restlessness, and it will make you more calm, and you'll get mindfulness a lot better. And what I mean by mindfulness is you'll have more attention and awareness in what you're doing, which is obviously being in the present moment, and what we're doing in the present moment is trying to meditate. So when we meditate, what we want to be doing is trying to stay still for as long as possible and not moving our legs and being fidgety, and things might arise like some itchy sensation or something. You might have something crawling on you or something. You want to just be mindful and observe that, but not put any action to that. Just observe it and watch it, the arising of the sensation or the feeling, and then watch it pass. And we're just observing these things. So what I would suggest for you, Nick, is just keep practicing and try and purify your mind by following these 5 precepts. Okay, so I'll mention them one more time. Try to live a wholesome life, the first precept, by not killing creatures and animals, and don't try and hurt or harm anyone, start fighting people or anything like that. The second one is try and refrain from stealing and taking things that are not yours, unless someone offers them you or someone gives you something. Try and make sure you pay for things when you buy them and stuff like this. I think most people try and follow this precept quite well, unless you're a teenager or you're a young boy or a young adult even. You might be pinching things or stealing things, which isn't good. So try and refrain from doing that. Obviously, most of us are aware that's not a good thing to be doing. The third one is try and refrain from sleeping around if you have a partner or a girlfriend or a wife or a husband, whatever it may be. Try and be faithful and try and be a good partner. refrain from sexual misconduct as much as possible. The fourth one is try not to tell lies and just be honest person and have kind words, towards other people. If you're going to speak, make sure you speak nicely to people and, try not to tell lies, essentially. And then the fifth one is quite an important one for restlessness in your meditation. I'd say this one you'd probably want to hold quite dearly, Nick, is drinks and drugs. You got to be careful with this one because this is something that can cause restlessness in your practice quite easily. I'd say out of the five precepts, that could probably be the most potent one when it comes to sitting and not being fidgety and moving and stuff. So try to, ease up on the alcohol if you're drinking. Going out for casual dinner with friends and stuff, it's quite normal and it's in everyday life to have a glass of wine or a beer or whatever it is. But try and be mindful if you're practicing meditation. Try and avoid these things because they're quite a hindrance to your practice, okay? That would be my answer for that one, I'd say, is moral discipline causes quite a big factor in having restlessness. That's what I found myself back in the day when I was taking drinks and drinking and taking drugs and partying and sleeping around and doing all the things that I shouldn't have been doing. When I started my practice seriously, I was having the same issue. So it's quite a common thing, Nick, and especially when you start out with your practice, it's quite common to be quite restless because we're doing something we're not used to doing, especially initially when we start the practice. So just be aware of that. But consistency, if you're starting out as well, try and not go as long, maybe do 10, 20 minutes to start with or even 30 minutes and try and have a good practice of that time and, shorten your practice by a little bit, but make sure that it's a good, whatever the time frame it is, that you're not moving and you're focusing on your primary object, which could be the breath or whatever it is. Just stick to that and see how you go. Also, walking meditation can help as well. If you're feeling quite restless with your sitting, it's good to get up and just do, 10, 15 minutes of walking meditation and then do your sitting afterwards and see how you go. That can also be another beneficial thing for you, okay? So the third one, good evening, Bante. Thank you for your guided meditation videos. I meditate twice a week and use your videos, which I find very helpful. I wanted to ask you how I can convince my partner to come with me to the temple. We have been together now for 5 months and he still won't come with me to temple. His parents brought him up as a Catholic Christian, but he told me he doesn't care about religion. I really love him and just want him to come with me so we can spend more time together. Have you got any suggestions that you can give? Thank you, Bante. Okay, so that one is quite a valid, interesting question. It's a bit tricky, that one. So you have to ask yourself first, you don't have a name, you have to ask yourself first, why is it so important for your boyfriend to come to temple with you? I think that's a question you need to ask yourself first. And when you ask yourself this question, just be mindful of and very truthful with yourself on what reason. It says there that you want to spend more time with him. If he doesn't want to come to temple, it's something you don't really want to force people to do. Anything with a place of worship, if people aren't into that, then it's not something you really want to force. Especially in Buddhism, we try not to force these things on people. Now, you mentioned here He was brought up as a Catholic Christian. So this could be possibly a reason why he doesn't want to go to temple, because maybe he had Christianity pushed on him when he was younger, growing up perhaps, and he was maybe forced into praying or doing certain things that he didn't want to do. Maybe he went to a Catholic school. I'm not sure of the reason. But when it comes to trying to get him to come to temple, all you can do is suggest when you go to temple, would you like to come with me? And if he doesn't want to come, then that's fine. Utilize that time to have some alone time for yourself, and you can pay homage to the Buddha alone. You know, there's no need for him to go. When it comes to spending time with him, I'm sure you guys can find other common things that you guys are into, that you enjoy doing together, and just go and do those things. You don't want to push any kind of faith or any kind of religion onto people. I personally don't believe. Everyone in life is going through a different stage. You know, we're all born into this world, and we're at different stages in our progress in life and in the nature of reality in the universe and everything itself. So the energy that he has, let him have that energy and do what he wants with it. There's no need to try and force him to come to temple. I agree with you. I think it would be a good thing. You know, it's a great place to go, but at the same time, I think the time will organically come naturally, where one day he might want to come with you. You know, so just leave it at that. I think it's not something we're pushing on to somebody. If they don't want to go, then they don't want to go. You know, what do? You know, maybe you know, you can do some meditation with him at home, or you know, maybe talk a bit of Buddhism with him, and try and encourage him that it's a good idea to go. But I personally wouldn't push it. I'd just leave it. If he doesn't want to go, then don't push people. Generally, when you try and force people to do things, the natural habitual thing that humans do is they generally will do the opposite, you know, especially when you're younger. You know, like if someone says don't do something, a lot of times you'll want to do that because somebody told you not to do it. So, you know, it's one of those things. I just let it go. So, all right. So that's pretty much the questions. I only printed 3 tonight. There is a lot more, but I just wanted to do this one a little bit just off the cuff and just see how it goes and see what traction we get with viewers, and if it's worth doing this on a week-to-week regular basis. What you guys can do, don't go too hard on me, but if you like, you can send me emails, or you can DM me via Facebook, Instagram, or X. If you have any questions, preferably just doing it via email would be best, just so then it's just going through the one stream of media. Then we can have them all congregated together, and then I can look through them. So if you want to email me, I'll leave my email in the description, but I think you'll find you can click on my email address. I think I have it shown there. I think I have the details up on my YouTube channel. And then you can just email me with a question. It's perfectly fine. Preferably try and leave your name. If you want to stay anonymous, then I suppose that's fine. And yeah, just you can throw some questions at me. I might not be able to answer them, but I can endeavor to do my best. Yeah, so we'll leave tonight's Q&A like that. So it's a bit scrappy and unprepared, but I just thought I'd answer these 3 questions, and we'll just see, and we can go from there. Also, there was something else I wanted to mention. Oh, yes. So I was also thinking of doing maybe once a week or once a fortnight, maybe even once a month, I'm not sure. Doing an online meditation session where I can do, a guided meditation for us all, and then we can sit for maybe 30, 45 minutes or something, and then afterwards we can do a Q&A as well. I think that's also probably a good idea, because the YouTube channel I'm currently doing is just one guided meditation, and then I'm also doing my own practice, recording my own practice, like just one video a week. So I think it would probably be a good idea. It's up to you guys. We can do either a Zoom call or we can do a WhatsApp call or something. And we can do like a guided meditation or something. So if anyone is interested in doing that, send me an email and let me know if you're interested, followed with what day and what time would be suited, okay? Because that's pretty important, because obviously we're living all over in different parts of the world, so we need to find a time that's suitable, that slots into all of our time frames, on a day that obviously is suitable for us. So throw those ideas at me, and if I get enough traction, then we can go forward and do that as well. All right, so I'll leave that for tonight's session. Thank you for joining, and te rawan sanai.